When I got a major promotion, my husband's brother smirked and said, "That's cute, but let's be honest, my achievements will always outshine yours." My husband chuckled. "He's just competitive." I smiled and said, "Then he won't mind a little competition." That wiped the smug smile right off his face. Let me be clear, I'm not someone who looks for drama. I've always kept my head down, done the work, and never felt the need to prove myself, until that night. I work in marketing. I've been with the same firm in Austin, Texas, for over 11 years. It's not flashy, but I climbed from junior associate to senior campaign manager. A few months ago, my boss called me in and offered me the role of vice president of marketing. More responsibility, more visibility, more pay. I was proud, not just of the promotion, but because I earned it. No shortcuts, no favors, just work. Naturally, I wanted to celebrate, so I planned a dinner with my husband Mark, and his family, parents, sister, and yes, his brother Daniel. Daniel has always been, well, Daniel, loud, flashy, always needing to be the center of attention. He owns a chain of upscale fitness clubs called Elite Fit. Think eucalyptus towels and $12 smoothies. Mark and I knew dinner could get weird, but I hoped we could all be adults for one night. We went to this trendy but casual downtown spot. Everyone showed up. I shared the news over appetizers. And for a moment, it was all smiles, hugs, and real congratulations. Then Daniel raised his glass and said, "VP, huh? That's cute. But let's be real. My success will always make yours look small, right in front of everyone." I laughed awkwardly, assuming it was a joke. Mark leaned in and whispered, "He's just being competitive, he can't help it." That's when something in me snapped. I looked right at Daniel and said, loud enough for the table to hear, "Well, then he won't mind a little competition." He didn't reply, but his smile faded, and something shifted in me. I wasn't planning anything at that moment, but his arrogance stuck with me. A few nights later, I started digging into Elite Fit, just curiosity at first. But the deeper I looked, the more off things felt. The reviews looked suspicious, dozens of complaints on the BBB website, people being charged after canceling, trainers with unclear qualifications. I reached out to a couple of former employees on LinkedIn. One of them met with me, and didn't hold back. She shared everything. Inflated membership numbers for investors, unlicensed trainers, exaggerated certifications, financial reports that didn't match reality. One incident stood out. A client had been seriously injured during a workout session. The case was quietly settled out of court. I kept digging. I'm good at data. It's literally my job. I found documents showing financial inconsistencies, patterns in disputes, and traced fake reviews to paid marketing bots. But I needed confirmation, so I hired a private investigator, Tom. Expensive, but thorough. He found internal emails, memos, screenshots, and even former staff who were willing to speak anonymously. Once I had everything, I reached out to a journalist friend, Lisa. She's done exposés before. She said she'd only run with the story if the evidence was solid. I sent her the folder. 2 weeks later, the article dropped. Elite Fit, behind the perfect body. Dirty secrets. It blew up. Local news picked it up. Then regional. A few influencers with brand deals posted statements. The company began losing members fast. Sponsors backed out. Daniel tried to do damage control, but it was too late. State regulators started looking into things. 2 gyms were shut down within a week over safety issues. Then one night, Daniel showed up at our house. No warning. Red-faced. Fists clenched. "You did this," he said. I looked him dead in the eye. "I revealed what you were hiding." "That's not the same thing." Mark was silent. He had defended Daniel for years. But this broke something. And then, it got personal. A week later, I got an email. No subject line. Just a screenshot. A fake review under my name. "Terrible business. Avoid at all costs." My name, my picture. Then came Reddit threads. Comments accusing me of being bitter, jealous, destroying a local entrepreneur. A Facebook group popped up. Elite Fit Truth, full of fake testimonials defending Daniel and attacking his unnamed accuser. People who didn't even know me were calling me a liar, an angry woman who couldn't handle a successful man. Mark and I both knew who was behind it. Daniel was trying to flip the script, make it look like a personal grudge, a vendetta. The smear campaign didn't scare me, but then it got serious. A letter arrived, thick envelope, fancy stationery, legal language. A cease and desist. Daniel accused me of defamation, interference with business, and more. The irony, all I did was tell the truth. I revealed the truth, but legal battles aren't always about what's real, they're about what can be proven, and who has the loudest voice in the courtroom. Mark was furious. He wanted to punch a wall. Instead, he called my older brother, a real estate attorney with some solid contacts. Within a week, I had my own lawyer, a calm, precise woman named Claire. She read the documents and said, "We're not just going to defend, we're going to count." Claire began building our case. My research, screenshots, witness statements, the private investigator's report, the journalist's notes, all of it. Daniel wasn't prepared. He thought he could intimidate me into silence. He didn't realize I'd spent over a decade making brands legally bulletproof. But what hurt the most? Mark's parents started distancing themselves from me, his mom especially. She never said it outright, but I could feel it. Maybe she believed Daniel, or maybe she just didn't want to believe her favorite son could do anything wrong. She stopped coming to family dinners. When we visited, she acted polite but distant, like I was a stranger she had to tolerate. Mark's sister, Jen, tried to stay neutral. "I just wish this wasn't happening," she said. But it was happening, because Daniel couldn't handle not being the center of attention, because he built his image on illusion, and didn't expect anyone, especially me, to fight back. I thought I'd already exposed the biggest secret, but I was just getting started. Remembers Sarah, the former employee I'd met at that coffee shop. She reached out again, said there was something she'd been too nervous to share before. Apparently Daniel hadn't just used unqualified staff, he had also altered a health inspection report. One of the gyms had black mold behind the walls. Employees complained. A member got sick. Daniel told the manager to keep it quiet, and allegedly altered a report to show everything was fine. This wasn't just unethical, it was criminal. I sent the new information to the Department of Health. We were no longer talking about shady business tactics. This could have serious legal consequences. And then, things got darker. One evening, I got home and found a note slipped under the door. Not mailed, not emailed, just, "There, you think you've won, but you have no idea who you're messing with. Stop now." No name, no signature, nothing else. I sat on the couch staring at it. My hands were shaking, not from fear but from pure boiling anger. Now it wasn't just about business. He was trying to scare me, to rattle me. But if Daniel thought that would stop me, he didn't know me at all. At this point I was dealing with a public smear campaign, a pending lawsuit, family tension, and now, anonymous threats. But I still wasn't done, because there was one final piece Daniel didn't know I had, and it wasn't about business. It was about his marriage. Let me rewind. Months before everything blew up, at a family barbecue, I saw something odd. Daniel was at the grill talking to a woman I didn't recognize, and it wasn't his wife Rachel. He was too familiar, laughing too much, standing too close, touching her back. At the time I brushed it off. Daniel had always been flirty, but after everything, I couldn't ignore it. I looked into it. I checked Elite Fit's Instagram, found the woman, a 26-year-old new trainer. I clicked through her stories, her posts, her tagged photos, and there he was. Daniel, over and over, dinners, hotel lobbies, late-night workouts, deleted quickly, but not quickly enough. The detail that sealed it, a necklace, a gold pendant I recognized from years ago. Rachel used to wear it. Now it was in a photo around the trainer's neck. I didn't want to interfere in their personal life. I really didn't. But Rachel didn't deserve this. She'd given up her career, raised 2 kids, supported him from the beginning. So I gathered everything, screenshots, posts, messages, and sent it all to her anonymously. No message, no accusations, just the facts. She never replied, but 2 days later Daniel moved out. 3 days after that, Rachel filed for separation. His world was unraveling, personally, professionally, legally, but he still didn't stop. Daniel's next move wasn't public, it was covert. I started getting recruiter calls, high-profile VP roles in New York, LA, Chicago. At first I was flattered, but the questions were strange, like they were probing for weaknesses. That's when I realized, these weren't real recruiters, they were digging for dirt, probably hoping to find something he could use against me in a professional setting. Too bad for him. I've kept my record clean, my work is solid, my reputation, untouched. But I'm not done yet. I documented everything. Every call, every weird email. I built my own little case. Claire, my lawyer, added it all to our file. He's escalating, she said. This is harassment. She was right. And then the story took a weird turn. One night, I got a text from an unknown number. He did the same thing to me. Want to talk? It was from a former investor in Elite Fit, a man named Mark. He had put nearly $200,000 into Daniel's gyms years ago. Promises of expansion, huge returns. Then Daniel stopped answering his calls. Eventually he ghosted him completely. Marcus had read the expose, connected the dots, and found my name. He told me he'd been planning to sue Daniel, but never had enough hard evidence. Now he had everything he needed, thanks to me. We teamed up, shared files, statements, witnesses. Daniel wasn't just facing civil suits anymore. Marcus contacted the Texas Attorney General's office. That's when things really started to boil. A week later, Daniel tried to sell his gyms. Fast, way too fast. He reached out to a big competitor, one of the major gym chains in Texas. He offered to sell everything. The brand, the equipment, even the location. The deal almost went through, until someone on their team read the expose. They called Lisa, the journalist, asked her if the claims were real. She sent them the public documents. Deal dead. Daniel was out of money, out of lies, and almost out of time. And still I wasn't done, because I had one last piece, something no one else had. Back when I first went through the fake financial reports, something had felt off. The income numbers were inflated, but the tax filings didn't line up. At first I thought it was just sloppy accounting, but then I saw it. The numbers declared to the IRS were lower than what he reported to investors. He was cooking both sides, showing one bloated version to investors, and a deflated one to the government. Classic fraud. Claire brought in a tax attorney. He reviewed everything. His exact words: "This is jail time if they prove it." So I submitted a report, anonymously, to the IRS whistleblower line. That was 3 weeks ago. Now I'm just waiting. Daniel thought he could bury the truth. He tried smearing me, threatening me, suing me, scaring me. He didn't expect I'd fight back harder, smarter. But here's what I didn't expect: that I'd lose almost as much as he did. Let's finish this. It happened on a Monday morning. I was already at work when Marcus called. They hit his headquarters, he said. Who? I asked. The Fed, IRS, and local law enforcement. They raided Elite Fit's main office in Austin. Computers seized, paperwork confiscated, staff questioned. One of Daniel's employees texted Mark. They had to watch their boss get cuffed in front of them. It wasn't just tax fraud. It wasn't just business lies. There were stolen identities on file, fake accounts used to boost numbers. People who had never signed up for Elite Fit were being billed. The fraud was worse than we knew. Daniel was arrested. Mugshot, orange jumpsuit, the whole deal. The trial came. Everything I had built, the evidence, the witnesses, the reports, became part of the case. I was called to testify. So was Marcus. So was Sarah. Daniel sat there, cold and quiet, no smirk left, just sweat and fear. He pled guilty to several charges: fraud, tax evasion, wire fraud, identity theft. The judge gave him 14 years in federal prison, no parole. His family? Devastated. Rachel finalized the divorce. She moved to Houston with the kids. Mark's parents? They haven't spoken to me since. His mom didn't say a word. She just looked at me like I had killed her son. Maybe in a way, I did. We didn't make it. We tried for months. But despite all our efforts, the cracks kept growing deeper. He loved me, yes. But watching his family fall apart because of me wore him down. One night he said, "You were right to do it, but it broke something in me that I can't fix." We separated 6 months later. No big fight, no shouting, just two people who had nothing left to give each other. I thought I was doing the right thing, both legally and ethically, But I got caught up in revenge. I chased it every time Daniel fought back. I hit harder every time he tried to cover a lie. Somewhere along the way, it stopped being about justice and became personal. I destroyed him, but I also burned everything around him. I ruined his marriage, broke my own, lost my in-laws, lost the family I thought I had. I proved my point, outshined him, but now I sit alone in a quiet apartment, reading old screenshots like war trophies. Daniel is in a low-security prison in East Texas. He still sends Mark letters sometimes apologizing, sometimes raging. Mark doesn't reply. Rachel is thriving. She went back to school, and the kids look happy in the pictures she posts. As for me, I'm still VP, still excelling at work, but I've stopped looking over my shoulder. I stopped celebrating every small win like it was revenge, because it's over. Justice was served, but revenge doesn't give you peace, it gives you silence. And now I have to decide if silence is enough.